Hello everyone, my name's Alona and I would like to share my impressions from the 29th Winter Universiade in Krasnoyarsk. What are the must-haves of a pleasant journey? To start with, you must issue a passport, of course. In fact, filling in a volunteer questionnaire 2 years ago was my very first step on the road to the greatest event Krasnoyarsk ever hosted. Furthermore, the next important step of my preparation was a preliminary research about the country where I was about to go. Fortunately, last summer I was lucky to be invited on a special session of a regional youth platform Universiade, where hundreds of volunteers gathered to get ready for the upcoming games. Although it was only a week of intense workshops from the FISU president, venue and functional managers, we were completely immersed into all organizational processes of such an ambitious project. Afterwards, my theoretical part of gearing up for 11 days of real winter transformed into a practical one. Owing to 3 test events, each of which was somehow connected with transport, I learned almost all the details of athletes' transportation, starting from their arrival at the airport and finishing with commuting between their place of accommodation and the venues. Generally, training for the Winter Universiade is comparable to a thorough and time-consuming preparation for an expedition somewhere to the North Pole or Antarctica. So, the closer was March, the more I was worried about the date when I would get my visa and appropriate clothes for work, as was expected in harsh weather conditions. Finally, on 23rd of February, the operation period began. Despite my belief that a whole book would barely be enough to tell everything what was happening during the competitions, I would like to dwell on 3 most remarkable aspects of my 3-week adventure. Without doubt, it's worth mentioning the fact that I arrived in a completely different Krasnoyarsk. In any journey, architecture is one of the first things that attracts the tourist's attention. No wonder I was surprised to see a number of restored historic buildings in the city center. However, from my viewpoint, the most spectacular decorations of a renewed Krasnoyarsk are various luminous objects, for instance communal and railway bridges, as well as the stunning night appearance of CBFU campus. Moreover, any journey is an opportunity to gain invaluable experience. As a matter of fact, my job as a volunteer of the MIC was to provide effective communication between the delegates from 58 countries and the managers of transportation desk. To say that it was hell on earth is to say nothing. Every day we had to find creative solutions for the situations that seemed hopeless. For example, one day we had not a single car on a parking lot, while 23 heads of delegations urgently needed a ride. If I were to describe our daily work on the verge of a nervous breakdown, I would call it a miracle. Last but not least, like any traveler gets to know the culture of place where he or she arrives, I consider the greatest achievement of my personal universiade is the exchange of knowledge with people from all over the world. If it wasn't for every single person who was eager to share his or her experience, we wouldn't feel unified in a global community with local customs. By the way, thanks to David Knob, one of our dear delegates from the US, we were introduced to the unofficial tradition of exchanging pins among the participants and volunteers at international competitions. It truly was an honor to be a part of such a huge family of people who made the best universiade in history. In conclusion, I would like to highlight that this trip to the country of student winter games was a marvelous adventure that has changed not only the outer aspects in the life of the host city, but also the internal guidelines of all the residents and guests who had visited the heart of Siberia during those unforgettable 11 days. Coming back to mundane and routine life, I made sure that my 2-year preparation was definitely worth it. And if I had a chance to repeat everything once again, I would go all in. Thank you.